The Harmony's shattered hull bled atmosphere into the void, a grave warning to all who dared approach the forbidden world called Earth. Captain Rigel slumped in his command chair, stunned by the savage ferocity of the human attack. Earth's nuclear missiles had struck without provocation, crippling the Tholian vessel mere moments after it broadcast friendly greetings. "By the void, what manner of monsters are these humans?" Navigator Xyloth whispered, her voice trembling. The bridge crew worked frantically to keep the Harmony from falling apart completely. Rigel struggled to make sense of the situation. He had come in peace, yet the humans responded with unthinkable violence. Intercepted transmissions painted a chilling picture. A rogue general named Chris Warren had seized Earth's defenses, driven by xenophobia and delusions of human supremacy. As the Harmony limped away, Rigel broadcast a desperate plea to the galactic community, warning of the dangers posed by this ruthless and unpredictable species. Earth was a pariah, a planet to be quarantined and shunned. But even as the galaxy reeled from the shocking attack, Rigel knew he could not abandon Earth to the clutches of a madman. He assembled a team of elite Tholian operatives and infiltrated the hostile world, determined to uncover the truth and prevent an all-out interstellar war. On an Earth rapidly militarizing under Warren's iron fist, Rigel played a deadly game of cat and mouse, the fate of two civilizations hanging in the balance. In the months following the Harmony's crippling, Earth transformed into a fortress under General Warren's unyielding command. The streets buzzed with military patrols, citizens eyed each other with suspicion, and dissent was swiftly crushed. Amid this oppressive atmosphere, Captain Rigel and Lieutenant Zara worked tirelessly to unravel the truth behind Warren's iron grip on power. Rigel stood on a rooftop, hidden by the shadows of towering skyscrapers, and surveyed the sprawling city below. The once vibrant metropolis now pulsed with an undercurrent of fear and paranoia. Zara approached, her footsteps nearly silent on the concrete. "Our contact has news," she said, her voice low. "Warren's been stoking xenophobia to solidify his position. The public believes we're on the brink of an alien invasion." Rigel hardened his eyes. "He's manipulating them, playing on their fears. We need to find proof of his deception." Far from Earth, in the heart of the Galactic Council's chambers, Alexander Novak stood tall before the assembled representatives. His voice rang clear, imploring them to see beyond Warren's lies. "Humanity is not defined by one man's hatred," Novak declared. "We are a species capable of great compassion, of reaching across the stars in friendship. I ask only for patience and understanding as we work to uncover the truth." Back on Earth, Colonel Jack Steele paced the confines of his office, his legs shaking. The evidence he'd uncovered pointed to an unthinkable reality. General Warren himself had orchestrated the attack on the Harmony. Steele's loyalty, once unshakable, crumbled under the weight of this revelation. He knew he had to act, to find allies willing to expose Warren's treachery. Rigel and Zara, their disguises impeccable, slipped through the city's underbelly, following a trail of whispers and secrets. They froze as a figure emerged from the shadows. Colonel Steele, his eyes haunted. "I know what Warren did," Steele said, his voice strained. "I want to help you bring him down." The Tholians exchanged cautious glances, weighing the risks. Rigel stepped forward, his voice measured. "We need evidence, something irrefutable. Can you get us inside Warren's inner circle?" Steele nodded grimly. "I'll do whatever it takes." As Novak boarded a sleek diplomatic vessel bound for Earth, Rigel and Zara huddled in a safe house with Steele, poring over classified files and intercepted communications. The pieces fell into place, painting a chilling picture of Warren's ruthless ambition. They worked feverishly to compile the evidence, knowing that time was running out. In the halls of power, Warren raged, his paranoia growing with each passing day. He saw enemies in every shadow, traitors in every ranks. "They're coming for us," he snarled to his loyalists. "We must strike first, show them the might of Earth." Steele, his heart pounding, slipped away from Warren's war council, a data drive clutched in his sweat-slicked palm. He raced through the corridors, every breath a prayer that he wouldn't be discovered. In a darkened alley, he handed the drive to Zara, his eyes blazing with grit. "This is it," he whispered. everything you need to expose Warren's lies. As Novak's ship hurtled through the stars, Rigel and his team raced to prepare for the coming storm. They reached out to what remained of Earth's resistance, urging them to be ready when the time came. The final confrontation loomed on the horizon, a battle for the soul of a world and its place among the stars. The stillness of space shattered as General Warren's fleet materialized around Earth's orbit. Alexander Novak's diplomatic vessel, sleek and gleaming, emerged from hyperspace into a sea of hostile warships. "By the stars," Novak breathed, his eyes widening at the armada before them. The bridge erupted into frantic activity. Alarms blared as the first volley of missiles streaked towards them. "Evasive maneuvers," Novak shouted, gripping his seat. Marcus Reeves, the human pilot, didn't need to be told twice. His hands flew across the controls, the ship lurching as it dove and twisted. Beams of energy seared past the viewports, uncomfortably close. "We've got an incoming transmission," the communications officer announced, her voice strained. Novak nodded grimly. "Put it through." Colonel Steele's face appeared on the screen, his expression grave. "Ambassador, it's a trap. Warren plans to frame this as an alien attack. You need to get planetside immediately." Reeves's fists tight. "Hold on to something," he growled, pushing the ship into a steep dive towards Earth's atmosphere. The vessel shuddered as it plunged through layers of air, pursued by Warren's fighters. Buildings rushed up to meet them, a sprawling megacity stretching to the horizon. Reeves's eyes narrowed in concentration. "I know these streets," he muttered, guiding the ship on a breakneck course through canyons of steel and glass. On the ground, Rigel and Zara crouched behind a crumbling wall, watching Novak's ship streak overhead. Zara's communicator crackled to life. "Novak's inbound," Steele's voice came through. "Rendezvous at the old factory complex in Sector 7. They moved swiftly through abandoned streets, joined by small groups of resistance fighters. Dr. Elena Sakharov fell into step beside them, her eyes sharp behind thick-rimmed glasses. "I've been working on a countermeasure for Warren's new weapons," she explained in hushed tones. "If we can get close enough—" The whine of engines cut her off as Novak's ship touched down in a hail of sparks, skidding to a stop inside a cavernous warehouse. Resistance fighters swarmed to secure the perimeter as Novak and his delegation emerged. The momentary relief was shattered by the thunder of approaching gunships. Warren's forces had tracked them. "We need to move," Steele shouted, ushering the diplomats towards waiting vehicles. Chaos erupted as energy weapons tore through the air. Rigel stumbled, clutching his side as a blast caught him. Zara hesitated, torn between her commander and her mission. "Go!" Rigel ordered through gritted teeth. "Get them out of here!" Zara's eyes hardened as she made her choice, sprinting towards Novak's group. Reeves gunned the engines of the diplomatic shuttle, lifting off as weapons fire peppered its hull. The small fleet of resistance vehicles scattered, weaving through the ruins of the industrial zone. As they climbed into the upper atmosphere, leaving the sounds of battle behind, Novak's communicator chimed. An encrypted data burst flooded the ship's systems. Schematics, plans, and a tantalizing hint of an alien artifact hidden somewhere on Earth. Aboard his command ship, General Warren seethed. "Find them!" he snarled at Colonel Thompson. "Crush this resistance before it spreads." Thompson's eyes glittered coldly. "It will be done, sir." In the relative safety of space, Novak studied the transmitted data, his brow furrowed. The choice before him was clear. Return to the Council with what they had, or risk everything on one last desperate mission. He looked up at his team, their faces etched with drive. "What we decide here," Novak said softly, "will change everything." Novak's gaze swept across the faces of his team, each etched with exhaustion and uncertainty. The weight of their next decision pressed upon them like a physical force. "We have a choice," Novak said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. "We can retreat with what we know, or we can pursue this lead." He gestured to the datapad displaying the encrypted schematics. Zara leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "The artifact could be our best chance at exposing Warren's lies. But the risk is immense," Reeves finished, his heart made. Those schematics point to a location deep in Warren-controlled territory. Elena adjusted her glasses, studying the data. The technology described here, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. If it exists, it could change everything we thought we knew about Earth's history. Novak nodded, decision crystallizing. We go after it. Zara, can you get us there? The Tholian's mandibles clicked in affirmation. I know people who can help, but we'll need to move fast. Within hours, their small team was planetside once more, guided by resistance fighters through a labyrinth of abandoned subway tunnels and forgotten maintenance shafts. The air grew thick with dust and the tang of rusted metal as they descended deeper beneath the city. Steele met them at a concealed entrance, his face haggard. Warren's patrols are everywhere. We've got a narrow window to get you to the site. They emerged into the ruins of an industrial complex, scurrying between hulking machinery and collapsed walls. In the distance, searchlights swept across the sky. Elena worked feverishly, assembling a device from components pulled from her pack. This should mask our heat signatures, she explained, activating the humming contraption. The group pressed on, following Steele's lead through a maze of corridors that seemed to stretch impossibly far underground. Strange symbols adorned the walls, glowing faintly in the darkness. Novak ran his fingers over the alien script, a chill racing down his spine. These markings, they're not human in origin. A low rumble echoed through the passage, causing loose debris to rain down upon them. Zara's antennae twitched. We're not alone down here. They pressed forward, weapons drawn. The air grew heavy with an otherworldly presence. Shadows seemed to move of their own accord, darting just beyond the edge of their vision. A piercing shriek split the air. Something massive and grotesque lurched from the darkness, all writhing tentacles and gnashing teeth. Elena's device sparked and sputtered, overwhelmed by the creature's alien biology. Weapons fire erupted, actinic bolts searing through the oppressive gloom. The beast recoiled, retreating into the shadows with an ear-splitting howl. Move! Steele barked, urging them onward. There will be more. They raced through twisting corridors, pursued by unseen horrors. The very air seemed alive with malevolent intent. At last they burst into a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in darkness far above. At its center stood a towering monolith, its surface rippling with impossible geometries. Novak approached, drawn by an inexorable pull, his palm pressed against the artifact's surface. His mind exploded with visions, Earth, primordial and raw, visited by beings of unimaginable power. The slow march of evolution, guided by unseen hands. The rise of humanity, an experiment set in motion eons ago. He gasped, staggering back. It wasn't the Tholians, he whispered. We thought, but it was never them. The chamber shook violently. Shouts and weapons fire echoed from the corridor behind them. Warren's forces! Steele called out, taking up a defensive position. Zara's eyes darted between the approaching troops and the artifact. With grim purpose, she reached for the monolith's surface. Reality itself seemed to twist and tear. A cosmic rift yawned open, swallowing Warren's soldiers in a maelstrom of light and sound. The backlash knocked them all to the ground. Novak's vision swam, his limbs leaden. Through blurred eyes, he saw Zara slumped motionless beside the artifact. As consciousness slipped away, he heard the distant thunder of approaching reinforcements. Consciousness returned to Novak in waves, each pulse bringing with it a fresh surge of agony. He blinked, his vision blurry and unfocused. The chamber around him lay in ruins, debris scattered across the once pristine floor. Novak tried to push himself up, but his arms trembled with the effort. His fingers brushed against his face, and he recoiled at the touch of papery, wrinkled skin. With dawning horror, he realized his body had aged decades in mere moments. A groan nearby caught his attention. Zara stirred, her carapace cracked but intact. She stumbled to her feet, antennae twitching as she took in the devastation. "Ambassador?" she called, her voice hoarse. Her compound eyes widened as she caught sight of Novak. "By the stars!" Novak opened his mouth to respond, but a cacophony of explosions drowned out his words. The chamber shook, dust and rubble raining down from above. "Warren," Steele growled, emerging from behind a fallen pillar. Blood trickled from a gash on his forehead. "He's making his move." Elena crawled out from beneath a pile of twisted metal, her glasses askew. "We need to get out of here," she coughed, clutching a sparking device to her chest. Zara helped Novak to his feet, supporting his frail frame. As they stumbled towards the exit, Novak's mind reeled. Images flashed before his eyes, impossible visions of Earth's history, of cosmic beings beyond comprehension. The knowledge burned within him, threatening to consume what remained of his humanity. He knew with terrifying certainty that his life force was draining away with each passing second. They emerged into chaos. Warren's troops swarmed the underground complex, their weapons cutting down resistance fighters with ruthless efficiency. Steele led them through a maze of corridors, ducking and weaving to avoid detection. A primal scream echoed through the tunnels. Something massive and writhing burst through a nearby wall, its form defying description. Warren's soldiers opened fire, but their weapons seemed to have no effect on the nightmarish creature. "What is that thing?" Elena whispered, her face pale with terror. Novak's withered hand reached out, touching the monolith's surface once more. Energy surged through him, and for a moment he saw clearly. "It's a guardian," he rasped, "a failsafe, to keep us contained." Understanding dawned on Zara's face. "Contained? You mean—" Novak nodded grimly. "Earth isn't our cradle, it's our cage." The truth hung heavy in the air, but there was no time to process it. Warren's voice boomed through the complex, amplified by unseen speakers. "I know you're down there, Novak," he roared. "You can't hide from me. That power will be mine." Steele's heart made. "We need to move. Now." They pressed on, the sounds of battle growing closer with each step. Novak's legs gave out, and Zara hefted him onto her back. His breath came in ragged gasps, each one a struggle. As they reached a junction, a squad of Warren's elite guards rounded the corner. Time seemed to slow as Novak locked eyes with their leader. In that moment, he saw it all. Humanity's violent history, the Creator's grand design, the terrible price of failure. He knew what had to be done. With the last of his strength, Novak pushed away from Zara and stumbled towards the monolith's chamber. Energy crackled around him, reality itself bending to his will. "Ambassador!" Zara cried out, reaching for him. Novak turned, his aged face etched with sorrow and commitment. No words were needed. In that silent exchange, Zara understood the weight of his sacrifice. As Warren's forces closed in, Novak placed both hands on the monolith. The artifact pulsed with otherworldly power, responding to his touch. Cosmic energy surged through him, tearing at the very fabric of his being. The chamber erupted in blinding light, and the world dissolved into chaos.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.